When Ada married Kunle, people said she was lucky. Kunle was soft spoken, respectful, and came from a good home. His mother, Mrs. Adeyemi, was well known in their community as a disciplined, God fearing woman who had raised her son well. Ada believed it too. For 2 years, their marriage felt like a gentle rhythm, soft laughter in the kitchen, shared bills, and whispered conversations at night. They weren't perfect, but they were peaceful. Ada worked as a senior product designer at a tech company. Her salary quietly carried the bulk of their life: rent, groceries, even the sleek car parked outside their apartment. Kunle contributed too, handling electricity, estate dues, waste bills. It worked for them. They never competed until his mother came. "I will just stay small," Mrs. Adeyemi had said over the phone. "Maybe 2 weeks. I miss my son." Ada had smiled. "Of course, mommy, you're welcome anytime." That was how it started. The first few days were harmless. Mrs. Adeyemi woke up early, swept the compound, hummed hymns under her breath. She corrected how Ada arranged the kitchen, but Ada brushed it off. "She's just adjusting," she told Kunle. Kunle nodded. "You know how she is." But adjusting slowly turned into something else. 2 years, Mrs. Adeyemi said one morning, staring pointedly at Ada's flat stomach, and no child. Ada froze mid-sip of tea. "Mommy," Kunle started. "I am just saying the truth," she cut in. "In my time, we didn't waste time like this. Or is it that you people are enjoying too much freedom?" Ada forced a smile. "We are not in a rush, mommy." Ah, Mrs. Adeyemi laughed dryly. "Not in a rush, but you are in a rush to spend money." Ada blinked. "Excuse me?" "My son is working hard, and you, every day, something new. Groceries, shoes, bags, this, that. Do you think money grows on trees?" Silence fell. Ada looked at Kunle, expecting him to speak. He didn't. That silence sat heavily between them. That night, Ada sat on the edge of the bed, her voice tight. "Why didn't you say anything?" Kunle sighed. "Ada, you know my mom. She doesn't mean it like that." "But she said it like that." "She's just worried about the baby, about us." Ada let out a soft laugh, but there was no humor in it. "Worried? Kunle, I pay the rent. I handle food. I even fuel my car myself. What exactly is she worried about?" Kunle shifted. "Why are you listing things like that? It's not a competition." "I'm not competing," Ada snapped. "I'm defending myself." He fell silent again, and that silence said everything. The comments didn't stop. They grew sharper, more personal, more deliberate. "Maybe you should check yourself," Mrs. Adeyemi said one afternoon. "Some women look fine outside, but inside, problem." Ada swallowed hard. "Have done my checkups, mommy." "Then maybe it's spiritual." Ada laughed in disbelief. "Spiritual?" "Yes." Mrs. Adeyemi leaned closer. "Not everything is hospital." Kunle heard. Later that night, he brought it up again, his tone careful, almost persuasive. "Maybe we should pray more seriously." Ada stared at him. "You think I'm the problem?" "I didn't say that." but you are acting like it. I'm just trying to find solutions. Ada stood up, frustration rising in her chest. Solutions to a problem we don't even have? What Ada didn't know was that Kunle had started talking. Everything she said, everything she felt, every disagreement, he told his mother, he told his friends. Women like that, one of his friends said over drinks, you have to control them early. If she's earning more than you, that's already a problem. Kunle frowned. It's not like that. It is, another chimed in. Today it's I parent. Tomorrow she'll tell you to leave your own house. The seed was planted quietly but firmly. The fights became frequent, sharp, exhausting, lingering. You don't respect my mother, Kunle accused one evening. I tolerate your mother, Ada shot back. There's a difference. She's my mother, and I'm your wife. He ran a hand through his hair. Why do you always make everything hard? Ada laughed bitterly. Me? I'm making things hard? You argue too much. Because nobody listens. Then came the distance. Kunle stayed out longer, came home later. His phone was always face down. Ada noticed. She just didn't want to believe. Until one Saturday afternoon, the doorbell rang. Ada opened it, and everything changed. A woman stood there, beautiful, confident, familiar in a way that made Ada's stomach twist. Hi, she said softly. You must be Ada. Ada's grip tightened on the door. Who are you? The woman smiled faintly. My name is Sade. A pause. Then, I used to date Kunle. Ada's heart dropped. I didn't come to fight, Sade continued, her voice calm, almost rehearsed. I came to beg. Ada blinked. Beg? Sade nodded slowly. Please, make space for me. Silence, heavy, unreal. Ada let out a shaky laugh. I'm sorry, what? I'm pregnant, Sade said. The words landed hard. And it's Kunle's. Ada didn't remember closing the door. She didn't remember sitting down. All she remembered was the sound of her own heartbeat, loud and violent in her ears. That night, when Kunle came home, she didn't shout, didn't scream. She just looked at him. Is it true? Kunle froze. And in that moment, she knew. I didn't mean for it to happen, he started. Ada laughed, the sound hollow and broken. You didn't mean to cheat on me? Or you didn't mean to get her pregnant? Kunle ran his hand through his hair. Ada, please. How long? She asked. He hesitated. How long? A few months. Ada nodded slowly, as if confirming something to herself. A few months, she repeated, while I was here, defending myself to your mother, paying bills, building a life with you. I made a mistake. No, Ada said quietly. You made a choice. That night, Ada packed a bag. Kunle watched her, said nothing, did nothing. And that silence was the final answer she needed. She left, first to her parents' house, then a few weeks later to a small, quiet apartment of her own, alone. And for the first time in a long time, there was peace again. At first, Kunle told himself he felt relief. The house was quieter, no tension, no arguments, no sharp words hanging in the air. His mother moved around freely now, no longer muttering under her breath, but speaking openly. Peace has returned, Mrs. Adeyemi declared one morning. That girl was too headstrong. Kunle said nothing. Shade moved in 2 weeks later. It didn't feel strange to him, not the way it should have. Maybe because Shade already knew him, his habits, his tone, the way he liked his food. She laughed at his jokes, agreed with his opinions, and never challenged him. If he said something, she nodded. If his mother spoke, she listened. She is a good woman, Mrs. Adeyemi said approvingly. Not like that other one. Shade smiled politely. Thank you, mommy. The word mommy came easily to her. Too easily. When Kunle sent the divorce papers, Ada signed them without drama. No calls, no begging, no questions, just a signature and silence. That silence unsettled Kunle more than anything else. She didn't even fight, he muttered one night. Mrs. Adeyemi scoffed. What is there to fight for when she couldn't even give you a child? Kunle nodded slowly, letting that belief settle in his chest. Months passed. Shade's pregnancy progressed. Her belly grew, and with it, Mrs. Adeyemi's excitement. God has done it, she would say, placing her hand over Shade's stomach. A son is coming. I can feel it. Kunle beamed every time. He had everything now. A child on the way, a peaceful home, a woman who didn't argue. This, this was what marriage was supposed to feel like. When Shade went into labor, Kunle panicked, his hands tight on the steering wheel as he drove. Drive faster, he muttered under his breath, as if speed alone could control the outcome. Hours later, a nurse stepped out with a smile. Congratulations, it's a boy. Kunle froze. A boy? The nurse nodded, healthy and strong. Kunle laughed, a loud, relieved, almost disbelieving sound. A boy, his son, baby Ade. Mrs. Adeyemi cried when she saw the baby. My grandson, she whispered, cradling him carefully. My own blood. She looked up at Kunle, eyes shining. You see, God has answered. Kunle smiled. Finally, everything made sense. The naming ceremony was planned immediately. Big, loud, extravagant. If we are celebrating, we will celebrate well, Mrs. Adeyemi insisted. Canopies were rented, chairs arranged, food vendors lined the compound, music blared, filling the air with life. Friends, neighbors, extended family, everyone was invited. Kunle wanted the world to see he had made the right choice. On the day of the ceremony, Shade sat inside, dressed in soft Ankara fabric, her face glowing. People came in waves, greeting, laughing, praising. Congratulations. God has blessed you. Your home is complete now. Kunle moved around proudly, shaking hands, accepting every word like confirmation. Mrs. Adeyemi stood tall, greeting guests like a queen. This is my grandson, she said again and again. My son's son. For a moment, everything felt perfect. Then the moment broke. A car pulled up outside the compound, then another, then three men stepped out. At first, nobody noticed. The music was too loud, the laughter too bright. One of the men walked straight in. His expression was cold, purposeful. Where is the baby? He asked. Confusion rippled through the room. Inside, Shade stiffened. Her grip on the baby tightened. No, she whispered. Her heart began to race. No, no, no. The door burst open. The men stepped in, and everything stopped. What is this? Mrs. Adeyemi snapped. Who are you people? The men ignored her. His eyes were fixed on Shade. There you are. Shade shook her head, backing away. Please, don't. Bring the child. Kunle stepped forward. Hey, what's going on here? The man looked at him, almost amused. You don't know? Know what? Kunle demanded. The man let out a short laugh. Before anyone could react, everything happened at once. One of the men moved forward. Shade screamed, No! The baby started crying. Guests rushed in. Chaos erupted. Leave my grandson, Mrs. Adeyemi shouted. Kunle lunged forward, but it was too late. The baby was taken. Screams filled the house. Chairs fell, voices clashed. Shade collapsed, her body going limp. Carry her inside, someone shouted. Kunle stood frozen, his hands shaking. My son, Mrs. Adeyemi whispered, her voice breaking. My grandson. They were gone, just like that. That evening, the house was silent. A knock came at the gate. A young boy handed over an envelope. Kunle opened it with trembling hands. Inside were documents, official, stamped, marriage certificate, name Shade Ibrahim, spouse Alhaji Musa Bello, wife number 4. Kunle's breath caught. Mrs. Adeyemi grabbed the papers, scanning quickly. This is nonsense, she muttered, but her voice lacked conviction. There were more documents, medical reports, dates, timelines, and then the letter. Kunle read it aloud, his voice unsteady. She was married, as a fourth wife, couldn't give him a child, endured abuse, ran away. His voice dropped lower, not knowing she was already pregnant. Silence. The child belongs to the Alaji. The paper slipped from his hand. No, he whispered. From inside the room, Shade's weak voice called out, Where is my baby? Mrs. Adeyemi's expression shifted. Shock, then rage. She stormed into the room. You deceived us. You brought shame into this house. Shade sat up slowly, her expression cold. Let's not pretend. You didn't care about me. You just wanted a child. You didn't care how the child was made or who it's from. She looked at Kunle, and there was no softness left in her eyes. As for you, you were just convenient, no backbone, just someone who listens to everyone except what truly matters. FYI, I'd go get myself checked if I were you. Who knows, maybe you're the blank shooter. Get out, Mrs. Adeyemi shouted. Shade stood up, annoyance all over her face. Gladly. I only stayed because I had no other option. At least, now that I've given birth for my husband, a man, 3 men in one, who will want to stay with this one that needs mommy to back him up to feel like a man? Have a shift, let me pass. After saying that, she left. Mrs. Adeyemi, who was still very furious at being deceived and seen to, started heaving. Her breathing became uneven. Kunle, she gasped out, clutching her chest as she collapsed. Kunle carried his mother into his car and drove like a madman to the hospital. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and regret. Kunle sat waiting, his mind replaying everything, the ceremony, the chaos, the truth, Sade's words. You were just convenient. The doctor approached. She had a heart attack. She's stable now, but she needs rest. When Kunle saw his mother, she looked smaller, fragile. My grandson, she whispered, tears streaming down her face. Kunle had no words. Days later, they returned home. The house felt empty in a way it had never before. Decorations from the ceremony lingered like ghosts of a celebration that had turned into humiliation. We need to find her, Mrs. Adeyemi said one evening. Kunle knew who she meant. Ada. The name felt heavier now. She was a good woman, his mother admitted quietly. I was wrong. The truth came too late. They went to Ada's apartment the next day. They knocked, shouted her name, begged, and waited, but there was no response. A neighbor stepped out. You dey find Sister Ada? She not there here again, no. She has relocated, the neighbor said. The news is she moved abroad. So just call her. I lost her number, but I remember she stays here. Please, can you give me her number? She knows me. I'm a friend of hers, Kunle said. I don't have it, the neighbor replied and went back to her own apartment. That was it. No address, no number, just absence. That night, Kunle sat alone in the living room. Memories of Ada filling the silence. The way she laughed, the way she tried, the way she stayed until she couldn't anymore. For the first time, he cried. Not for the baby, not for Shadi, but for Ada. Weeks turned into months. His mother softened, changed in small, quiet ways. Less judgment, more reflection. If she ever forgives us, she said one day, it will be God's mercy. Kunle didn't respond because he didn't think she would, and maybe she shouldn't. Far away in a different country, Ada stood by her window, looking out at a life she had rebuilt piece by piece. It wasn't perfect. Healing never was, but it was peaceful. She had a new job, a new routine, a space where she didn't have to defend herself, explain herself, or shrink herself. Some days were harder than others. Some nights, memories still came, but they no longer controlled her. Thank you guys for watching and for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and hit the bell so you don't miss stories full of suspense, drama, and life lessons. Till I share another story your way. Bye.